morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to The Vantage Point. My name is Jennifer Rogers, and I'm here with Dr. Jessica Mosley, missionary Takoya Porter, and evangelist Crystal Dunn.
Why don't you ever call me a Christian? You know what?
What you want me to call? You got doctor in front of your name.
Doctor.
See, this is what happens when it's my turn to start. I get a whole bunch of flack. Anyway, today we are talking about an interesting topic, and I posed this to the group earlier this week, and it's called imposter syndrome. Do you guys know what imposter syndrome is? So I took a training class, and you had actually Dr. Dina Brown at your TEDx, and she did a whole presentation on imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is the feeling that you are unworthy of any success that you have. You feel like your skills and abilities don't warrant your success, you don't deserve it, and you feel like you're gonna be found out as a fraud because of the way that you feel, that you don't feel accomplished, you don't feel like you deserve any success that you have. And I sent the girls this morning, there's 5 different levels of imposter syndrome. And as I was reading through them, and as I was sitting in the training, I was thinking, oh my gosh, there's like a whole name to what I think about myself. But I took the test and it said I didn't have it, so it was really very interesting. Anyway.
Because we know you don't have it.
I actually do. I personally, and I think this show is going to be very vulnerable. I feel like I tell all my business on this show. It's, you know,
and you
it is what it is.
Emotion a couple times.
Yeah, you know, I won't be emotional today because I had a good conversation with my husband about this before we talked about it, and he helped me get my whole life together. But that imposter syndrome, that feeling of inadequacy, that feeling of it's not good enough, that feeling of, that is real. And it usually is among women. So I work in corporate America and have done so for 20 years and just realized that I was black at work about 3 years ago. I know that. And then about 2 years before that, I realized I was a woman at work.
Okay.
And I told my boss, I was sitting in a workshop about women in the workplace and all this stuff. And I looked at her, I said, listen, I'm gonna either be a woman or I'm gonna be black, but I cannot be both in the workplace.
Oh, wow.
Because I never paid attention to whether I was the only woman in the room. Mm-hmm. I never paid attention to whether what I had to say was important to the other people in the room. I never paid attention to degrees and nothing. I just never paid attention to that until I went to these workshops. And that stuff will have you completely self-conscious.
Yeah.
Now I walk into a room and I'm thinking, am I the only black person in here?
Yeah.
And then am I the only black woman in here?
Yeah.
And then now I'm worried about what people are thinking. I never worried about that stuff before. And that imposter syndrome is really real, especially among women.
Oh, God, yes.
What do you guys think about imposter syndrome?
I mean, I think it sounds real.
Have you suffered from it? I think I'm asking them to be very vulnerable here. So
I think we call everything a syndrome.
I know,
That's
right?
The first thing I want to say.
It's a fancy name.
Is how is everything a diagnosis?
They gotta put a name to it.
I'm sorry if you have imposter syndrome and been
it.
diagnosed with it, and I'm just unsympathetic because
Right.
I'm not. I actually kind of believe this could be a thing, but I just don't know that it has to be a syndrome. Okay, now with that said, have I ever experienced this? Yes. I don't think everything has to be a syndrome. Like, you can literally diagnost anything.
You can.
I mean, according to the weather, it's just everything. Everything's a syndrome. Why are we always syndromed? But do I understand this category? Yes. Yes, I do. I think I do this. I know I do this. I just had a conversation with my husband recently, and he said something along the lines of, I think I know everything, probably. Something like that. Something just not true. He's like, you think...
The natural genius? That's one of the imposter syndrome?
He's like, you think everybody has to agree with you and see it your way. And I said, no, I absolutely don't. I said, you think I'm defensive because you think I'm right. I'm not defensive because I think I'm right. I'm defensive because I expect you to think I'm wrong. If that makes sense. I don't feel like you're gonna side with me. So I'm already geared up, gunned up, and ready
to defend yourself.
To go for this
good.
right there. So it's not always, so in terms of like feeling like, oh yes, you've accomplished something or you've reached this goal. No, I very rarely feel like that. For me, I don't even know how you define success. Do I think I'm successful? No, not yet. We'll have to decide that when I die. Right now, it's too soon to tell.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, and even with my children, you know, I have some great children and they've accomplished some great things, and people will be like, you're a great parent. Too soon to call it. Too soon. They're not done yet.
They ain't grown yet.
Yeah. I mean, I got one we can probably account for, you know. He's 18, but still, there's a lot of moving room there. And so I'm like, you know, you can say we're on a good track, but to call it now, no, I don't look at very many things and think, oh, I'm successful, so everybody should agree with me. No, I think, hey, I better prove that I've got the right ideal here, so I come in guns blazing sometimes, and that's the way I look at it.
I think it takes a very mature and somewhat confident woman to address this.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's why it sounds so foreign, because you don't hear a lot of women saying, hey, I really don't feel that great when I stand before all these people, and even though they clap and tell me, hey, you did a good job, or from a ministry standpoint, the Lord really used you, I think because we don't hear people talk about it, this sounds, you mean somebody else feels this way? And I think if I don't know that we have to keep talking about syndromes, as Sequoia said, but I think having this conversation amongst us and us being vulnerable or transparent to say, yeah, I felt like that, and probably more often than people would believe, you know? Because again, to me, this is not low self-esteem or nothing like that. This is, you don't know how unqualified I feel, you know? And I would imagine even those with degrees and years of experience in certain fields, you still feel like this. Maybe not every day or every time, but I think that's a real, I'm gonna say characteristic instead of syndrome.
No syndrome. Dr. Jessica, what do you think?
I agree with everything that's been said, because I fight myself daily. And I think, like, when people are like, oh, you've done some, I'll be like, girl, you see what I want you to see as far as the success. But I've failed more times than I've accomplished things. I like what Michael Jordan said. He said, failure is the key ingredient to success. Because even with, it was something not too long ago with some of the ladies that I mentor and coach, and I was just telling them, I was like, it's okay to not get all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted. You know, I know that gives you the chills, but I'm telling you. Because, you know, even before I started writing, like, nationally, I was turned down hundreds of times. So bad I would be like, well, maybe God didn't really call me to this. You know, you ever felt like that? Like, maybe this was just me wanting to do it. But it was for me to be dependent on his ability and not my own. I think that's the lesson that I was supposed to get out of that. But now I have to turn down writing assignments because I don't have the time, for one. But two, it's like, wow, you really want to work with this little ghetto girl from Gary, you know? But it's something about me that attracts people. But I think that knowing that that it's not you, not your education, not your money, not your influence, not the connection. Somebody called me right before I came here, and they were like, well, we know you're cool with such and such. And I was just like, but I met her on a prayer line. I didn't even know she was who she was, you know, but, you know, you don't ever know how people are connected, but it's just the favor of God, and I think humility is what makes us seem so bigger than what we are.
You know, I think there's a level of humility in something like this,
of course.
Right? Because, you know, my personality, I feel like I'm pretty good at whatever it is I try to do. If I really put effort and energy into it, I feel like I could probably do that.
Yeah.
But then when it's done, I'm thinking, oh, you could have did this better, you could have did that better, you could have did that.
Your own critic.
And so that's considered the perfectionist imposter, because there's 5. We'll go through all of them, but and the way that you stop doing that is you start leaving things undone on purpose. That's how you get out of that perfectionist mindset. Like you stop. So So I was doing something, I can't even remember what it was, conference something. And I started doing the absolute most, which is what I do.
You always do the absolute most.
You know, in my craft room, I had to create a whole craft room because my husband got sick and tired of me doing this all over the house. And my room is a hot mess. And he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, you don't even have to do that. Who told you to? I'm like, but it'd be nice to have this. It'd be nice. But I had to stop myself. And I thought, I feel okay. Like, it's okay if I didn't iron on 250 masks. It's okay. Like, nobody would have cared. Nobody knew that you were going to do it. It's like, I knew people knew that I didn't do what I could have done better. And they're sitting around looking at it and judging it based on, I know it's a whole thing in my head. It's a syndrome, people. It's a syndrome.
No, it is not.
A lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure.
It is pressure.
That I think I put on myself, because y'all would have never known that that's what I was going to do. Yeah. And would have been fine with it. But I think people knew exactly what you were going to do, but you didn't get time to do it because you was wasting time. And, you know, so it's a whole thing. I have a whole bunch of madness wrapped up in, in the craziness that is me. But I don't know. I just think there's some humbleness in that, you know, you aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. I never will be perfect at some things, but it's okay. And it's the it's okay part that I'm trying to be okay with.
Okay, because example for Jenny. So like when we were doing the Christmas thing and it wasn't going to be done the way you wanted it to be done.
I'm done.
Your whole demeanor was like,
it does.
Done, finished.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, Jenny said,
nope.
No, I'm not doing it. It went from, oh, I can't do what I want to do.
Yep, I'm out.
I'm out of here.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, and this is the thing, like, I don't want to, I've given myself grace for that, you know? Because I remember when you came and you taught us Smile like 15 years ago. And I was like, okay. Because I would do the same thing, like buy something, didn't want to wash it, so I just throw it away and go buy something else, you know? No, I was guilty of that. But then she was teaching us how, like, you need to keep a clean house. And now it's like if I see a piece of hair out of it, I was like, I got this from that stupid class that Jenny came and taught, and now I got like, no, it's okay, Jessica. And I would get up in the middle of the night, like, did I leave this? Because of what you taught. And I don't want to have that spirit on me anymore. I want to be free. Sequoia, I want to be free.
You never know what you're gonna
Let
hear.
some hair be in the bathroom sink.
Oh
It's
my
okay.
God. I was like, oh my God. Jenny came here and ruined my life. It was okay.
I cannot. All right, when we come back, we're going to keep talking about imposter syndrome, and we'll go through the other four, which these guys actually do fit in one of those categories, I think.
I don't.
Oh, for sure, sis. And we'll be right back. You're watching The Vantage Point.
Did you know that when you are quiet, your voice is missing to God's ears? I know some of us have prayed and we're wondering, how long should I pray about this? Why should I pray if God already knows? How will I know God is answering? And what do I do when I feel like God's not listening? But God is listening for your voice. It's too quiet in this world for the troubles we have. You have to raise your voice, and God wants to hear from you. It's Too Quiet, a book about prayer, is designed to answer your prayer questions and build your faith. Visit presstopray.com.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included, and I knew that I was going to be okay.
We've been talking about imposter syndrome. I have self-diagnosed myself as having perfectionist the perfectionist type of imposter syndrome, and that is one that you always hold yourself to a higher standard, could be considered a micromanager, you'll deliver a successful presentation, but then you'll kick yourself because you forgot one minor thing. This is totally like somebody wrote this that knew me, because I do all of these things. And you never settle for less than gold. Anything else is a failure. And I really do think about myself that way in some aspects. It's not that I don't think I'm capable of doing it. I just always feel like I could have done better. And the way to get away from that is it says use this GEQ method, which is a good enough quality. And so my husband, like I tell you, he's my whole personal hype man, because he will, JR, your basic is somebody else's, exceptional. And, he just hypes me up over it, because I'm like, I'm just going to do this simple. He'll say, what? That you consider that simple? Like, really? Do you really? And in my brain, it is absolutely basic, total bottom of the line, the least I could do. That's how I feel about it. But the way to overcome that is use that good enough quality, those good enough, and that it has to be good enough. And I'm learning that. I work in IT. And we have, if you're in IT, everything it depends. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes you turn your phone on and just start doing dumb stuff, turn it off, turn it back on, it's fine. I don't know why it does that. Sometimes it just doesn't work. But I find myself fighting for this good enough quality in my services at work. I'm like, guys, it's happening to one person. We got 40,000 people on this service. It's okay. If it happens to 200 people, it's okay. And I find myself fighting for that in the professional, but I don't fight for that in the personal side. Because professionally, I think I do just fine. I don't care about being black at work. I don't care about being a woman, so there. But
love Jenny,
on
man.
on the personal side, I don't fight enough for that good enough, and make myself realize that this is okay. Nobody knows that you were going to do X, Y, and Z. It's okay. So get over yourself. So that's just me. Chakoya was talking earlier. She's the natural genius. I've just diagnosed all of them.
I do not want to know what you named me.
Pressure just from
No, I don't want to know what you named me. I don't know if it's going to be a
It's
nice
either
word.
the natural genius or the expert. I don't know which one it is, but she'll have to decide which one that is. It says, they believe people are born talented or skilled. They easily get frustrated or quickly switch from one hobby to another, and they see everyone around them as achieving success while they are the ones failing.
I don't know. What's the next one?
The next one. All right. It says you tend to prepare yourself fully for diving into books, courses, trainings before attempting a big project or presentation. You avoid applying for jobs because you don't meet all the qualifications. Or even if you feel like you're teaching or working a job for years, you feel like you're not enough.
Nope, none of those.
None of those? Okay.
No.
All right.
Go to Jessica's. Which one do you think?
No,
yeah,
please,
what's the next one?
please.
Here, Takoya, you may be able to have this one. This one might be good.
Why are we working to
It's
diagnose
called
me?
Superman, Superwoman.
Oh, wow.
Juggle
sounds more
multiple things at once, chores, school, side businesses, find yourself working overtime or past your normal working hours.
Oh, my gosh.
Neglect your friends, families, and hobbies in order to work more.
I agree. Yes, for you.
Why?
You juggle multiple things. You stay up past normal working hours. The girl would be up till like 3 o'clock, then wake back up at 4:30 like, go to sleep, Takoya.
But I don't think I neglect my family. and
Oh, no.
friends.
Did he say
Oh, yeah, I think you do. I don't think you do, but I think.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know if you do or not, but.
No, Jenny, you know the heart,
I
the
think
mouth
that
speaks
you
what the heart
can,
really feels.
But I think you
Oh,
can
yes.
when you are driven. There's something has to give, right?
Yeah.
That's just realistic. Something has
yeah.
to give, right? You have to not be doing something in order to be doing something else, right? You can still only work on one thing at a time. I don't care how quickly your brain moves.
Yep.
You just can still do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know I've often got into the place where I'm so busy or so project driven that I forget clean my house. My house has not, I'm gonna make a confession. My house has not
Please
been
don't,
deep
please
cleaned for over a year because of Deborah's place.
The lies you tell.
Yes.
Listen,
yes.
honey.
I got so engrossed into a project, though, you
But I
neglect the
didn't-
small.
no.
No, you it has nothing to do with you.
No.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah,
my
no, you're speaking out my
way
name.
of doing
No,
things.
no. Let me say.
Deborah's Place
So,
is a local
there's that.
donation center that Jessica started in partnership with a number of organizations.
Yes.
We'd love to have you visit us, and Jennifer runs it for her as a volunteer. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, wait,
okay,
wait,
on to next.
Okay, wait a
Surprise
minute. I want to
imposters.
say something. I think no.
But I believe.
I came to you about the project. I told
See,
and I
we wanna talk
and I
about
told
the
you this
show.
about this in Tequoia. I come to you about a project. Y'all made it so much bigger than what it is.
I didn't say it was your fault.
No, but you mentioned my stuff.
She's off track. It's
Okay.
So, do I have the Superman, Superwoman syndrome?
I think you do.
I might.
If they
I'm
were
just
my
listening
friends,
today.
no way they would give away with the
Because-
stuff they do.
Because
promise.
I think the neglecting part is something, if I'm honest, I have to make sure I don't do.
Right.
And something they felt it, my family has felt at different times, because I
And how
can
did you
have
address
television.
that?
Well, I talk to my kids about that stuff a lot, because I know what that feels like. Because I think my mama has it too.
I didn't say that.
Growing up, no, that's fine. It's fine. But growing up, I think she probably did the same thing. You get very, and now I totally understand it, so I'm not throwing her under a bus, but you get very enthralled, and it's kind of like, you're my accessories. You come with me. And the things, it's not that you don't care about them or anything like that. It's just what they're asking you in that moment. You're like, I'm planning this huge thing, and you're asking me what's for dinner. Dude, don't talk to me right now.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah.
But to them, that can be a huge deal. Or just taking the moment, especially with, I have to say, my middle son, taking the moment to answer his question and look him in the eye is huge to him. And I failed at that so many times, because I'll do it, but I'll do it like happenstance, and he's more, yes, he wants your attention. And I feel like I could divide my attention. And so that's something that I really have worked on. I don't know if he'll give me any street credit today, but I think if he's honest, and he is, but I think if he's honest, he'd say, yeah, she's worked on that. So I could kind of see that one, because I like juggling stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not feeling the whole syndrome thing.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what
Okay, well,
makes
tell
this
Crystal.
negative.
What's Crystal's?
So, I'm sorry.
You're
okay,
not
what's
negative.
the last one?
Let's not Crystal.
That was it. Oh,
Okay.
no, rugged individualist.
What's that mean?
Oh,
And
wow.
it says, you feel like you need more time to prep. You prefer solo projects versus group tasks. Don't ask for help even when you need it. I think I'm all of these. Like, can you be all of them all at once?
I think we all have the potential to do something on this
Yeah,
list.
anything they define.
If you're a person
yeah.
that's up and moving and you work or you do ministry or anything, you have the potential to be any of these. I think to me it is, the other side is if I think I have one of these characteristics, how do I overcome that? Or what does that look like? Because again, if we go back to the faith part, God, I really am nothing. I really do need you to do that. And so I guess I'm just listening today.
What's Crystal's? What's
I
Crystal's?
don't know. I don't know what
We went
anybody
through all of them and none of them were assigned to me.
I thought she was just picking
She doesn't have it. I
That's
mean,
just
I
me.
took the test and it said I didn't have it either, but it's a lie. It's
And
a
I'm
lie.
saying I probably do, but is that really a bad thing?
But I think the Superwoman one, I think could kind of cover us all at some point, because you really do try to be all things to all people. And
But we are
I
different
realized,
things to
right,
people.
but I realized something. I had an employee pass away last year.
Yeah.
And when I was, I went on site to talk to my team and say, you know what, guys, we're just done. I called them up, we're not doing anything else today. We're just done. Because the whole team was just shattered. And I went on site to to just really deal with my team. And I realized something, that life doesn't stop because you're gone.
Girl.
And the expectations don't stop because you're gone. And I have had to learn to make the people that would really miss me when I was gone realize that I do care and love them and am there for them.
Yeah.
Because my job, somebody will be in my position the next week and they'll just the company will keep going on.
I promise you. And the sun goes to rise.
I have just learned how to prioritize work and projects that I work on and not, like you said, work on not neglecting your family or your responsibilities at home. Because I truly believe that the people that are in your house are the people that are truly going to be affected if something happens to you.
Absolutely.
Everybody else might cry, but the people in your house are going to be affected by that. And so I have had to learn to prioritize the people that live in my house and what they need.
Yeah, because you gave those 2 dogs a birthday party and invited other dogs, so I know that Jenny prioritizes the people in her
But
house.
you know what, that wasn't
never
something.
been to a dog party, never.
You still haven't because you didn't come. But anyway.
I support it.
But I really believe that all of this imposter stuff and all of that is just another way of, one, helping you realize that you need to understand what's important.
Yeah.
And you need to prioritize what's important.
Yeah.
If something happens to me tomorrow, you guys might be sad for a minute, but the vantage point would keep going on. You put somebody else in my seat, and we'd change this
That's
purple.
so
neck.
untrue.
It just would happen.
That's what's in your
That
head.
was
It's just real life. It's real life.
But
You guys wouldn't stop the show.
I think we would.
No, you
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't. I would want to go on in the name of going on.
She would, but I'm
See,
just
and I'd probably
saying,
be
we,
like-
as women, because
And I would be like, thank you for your service. God bless you.
fine.
Because that's what people do to you. They'll leave. They're the friction twins.
I can't.
If one leaves, the other one leaves. I already
Well,
know.
she's not leaving, that's
Anyway.
dying.
yeah.
No, but I'm just about
She
to
went to
point
death
I would
over
just
I'm
be
just
so wise.
saying.
It'd be hard to
At the
continue.
end of the day, the people that are important to you are the people that are important to you.
Yeah.
And I don't care what job you have. I don't even care what ministry you do. The people in your house are the people who are really, truly affected by you, your ministry, and everything else.
I agree.
And you have to care how what you do affects them. You know, you when your kids get older, you start having conversations about how you failed as a parent.
Oh my God.
And you realize, wow, I didn't intend to do that. So intent versus impact is
They
a
don't
thing.
come with a manual, Jenny.
Yeah, they do. They come with the word, but it's okay.
No, you know what I'm
It's
saying.
okay. But I
don't
think
know everything.
once you own it and you decide you're good, like with Ethan, you decide to change that. Once I realize you need that, then I would have to be actively ignoring that you need that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So once you tell me what you need, then you can react to that. Do you have something you wanted to say?
No, I can't wait. But I do want to say, if anyone ever writes my life story, you'll be there.
Oh,
All right?
I would be there.
I don't want you to think life is going to go on.
It should go on. Thank you so much for joining us on The Vantage Point. We hope that you follow us on Facebook. You subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for talking about imposter syndrome. Pray for us. We need to get our life together.
Jenny does.
Thanks. We'll see you next week.